Greetings. I might show writer. Yeah. I know. I'm behind the camera, voice behind the camera and showing hands. Now this in front of you is actually the oldest and oldest surviving piece of version of Big Nutter Oddity. And actually this is what is in the book, the second half, and this is still the second part of the Big Nutter Oddity experience. And this is actually a printout from a web page on my computer at the time. I can tell you that this is why. It's because I can actually see the file, which is from AOL Press, which is a modified version of some other software which designed for various other stuff. But as I can tell, AOL Press it was built for AOL and made for building websites. Now I'm aware that some of this stuff is out of focus and down here there's a bit of mosaicing going on. Well, that's purely because there's a few things in this version of the page I do not want to share with people. Some of the other stuff I've deleted because it's technically all readable or easily readable, but I mean, as you can see on around here, the actual links here, and this was originally part of a website. I still have a version of this website, a later version, I should point out, and this was originally 8 A4 pages, but I printed it out as a two-pair per single page, which turns it into an A5 sheet. So it looks a bit small. And before anyone else, yes, the fonts, comic sans, and I will go into a bit more detail about that in a lot later. Moving on to pages 3 and 4. This more or less exact same details as we would before. I've also had a lot more personal jokes which really did not really fit right in the later story, but that's why a lot of things suddenly disappear. And this urban adventure thing was I made this bigger and stuff in the actual thing. So I also meant quite a few other things. But as you can see, I did a bit of there's a bit of a script piece here. I remember this was made, but it was right. I made this in the middle of 2002 because the thing is dated to September 30th. This is actually how September 30th is this printout. There's this printout. So, and I knew this was kind of completed by January of 2002. So this is the reason why I'm covering it like this. I also mentioned that I also had the evening events, evening day events where I had a bit of a who's who at the thing. This would have been more appropriate to the time because a lot of these these people would been working around this time. So, for example, there's we were talking about Heat, which was which when I was doing this was actually working in Salford at the time. Andy H was basically is Andy Alphon, still doing his same job. Lindsay Lindsay West, who at the time was a member of the Tribe and then went on to L7. I have no idea what happened since then. And the Tribe, MIC, and again H. Yeah, and he's talking about some other stuff now. Some of the other stuff I've got to point out. I'll talk about, because quite a few things as well. Now, the logo up here is something I didn't keep over for the book. This was actually based on the logo of the event, of the 2K1 event that the Big Nutter 2 was based on at the time. So that's the reason why that particular thing got a logo. I actually did produce other logos based on other things around the time, so that got its own logo. But some other things. Now we'll talk about stuff. Talk about a lot of things. The Tribe was one of the things I've talked about a lot, and it mentioned, as you can see here, it talks about being originally called the Worldwide Message Tribe. And whilst I've got the CDs, I've got a pile of CDs here, and this is basically a very, very early, faded example of one of the CDs. This was actually a live recording of a pile of their events in around 99 to 2000, I believe. Yeah. And it mentions after people who would have known about and could have appeared on the stage at that time. This is the only full Tribe CD I've got at the moment, and I've got to call it only full because there is, and it's single for Take Back the Beat, which features, as you can see, is a single, and as you can see, it's 2001. When this stuff came out. I got this a few years later. I will always say a lot of this stuff is that, because I may archive the stuff on that CD, but due to the fact it's all copyrighted, I'm not going to bring it out too much unless someone else decides they really, really, really want it. But this is the CD, the album to go with that the album for it. But I've lost the inlay card, and this is the actual thing. That's back end of the group, and Emma and the team of it, and it's Tim over there and George at the event. I can't remember the whole team. I didn't tell that the layout, the team changed quite a lot of time over the 12 years that they existed, and I was aware of them for a good chunk of this time. So, and they didn't and this is their final CD, and it was basically the one they made on the Tribe or the Worldwide Message Tribe's final tour. I mean, this was very, very late in the year. As I say, this was the final one in 2004, and they got some stuff some DVD stuff on here, and they've got quite a few of the stuff that may have been. I've actually watched the 90-minute DVD to even tell you what's on it yet. I may do that. I do have a CD player now. Before the CD came out, there was another CD I do need to come clean about. This one. This is a more of a promotional CD. Right? Promotional. Now, this on its own contains a pile of songs which from the acts that did the Festival of Manchester, which is a follow-on event from the 2K1 event that the World Amateur Tribe did that 2 years before. This actually is from early 2003 for an August, and this had quite a few this one is actually it contains actually a photo of me in it. The reason why I don't use it, I haven't put that photo, is because it's on this CD, and technically it's not my photo to share. Yeah, it's meant for me to post it on the screen now, but yeah, there's quite a few handful of stuff on this CD, which there wasn't that. Most of the photos were basically of Andy and Andy Alphon and Luis Palau, and a few events from the 2001. So yeah. As I said, this is actually a blank CD. I'm not sure if this had anything to go in, it would have been a cardboard sleeve, or it could have been a plastic envelope. This was just floating around between CDs until about 10 minutes before I recorded this. So this is actually just a blank CD case. Now I will point out something. This is actually something I'll be digging through in the future. But this particular is just a 1 megabyte floppy disk. It might be 1.4, but 1 megabyte is pretty much you're going to be getting it. No, it's not a 3D printed save icon. It is actually a floppy disk, and well, you save your files to this, or you used to. You had these before USB floppy. You had these floppy disks. These aren't actually not really floppy, but the predecessors were. But this was very much the recommend. This was pretty much the only way you could get stuff around between computers in 2001. And actually, this probably dates back to 2004, knowing based on these, what's been written. And I think it's been Mum's writing. Could easily be with Dad, or it could be both. Yeah, no, it's not mine. Oh, just one final thing. Well, after I talked about games in the Big Nutter Oddity in the first half. That's it. This was the game. Do that time. That's the sequel. Everyone. Yeah. Both of these are available on GOG at the moment. That was where the Festival of Manchester CD was living, but that's Descent 1 DOS only, Descent 2 DOS and Windows 95, and that is a pile of additionals, bonus levels, and that bonus level disc is probably the only thing that you just can't easily get hold of. Because this, I'm not sure how much of it I can share with that, but nice picture of one of the enemies, and they talk about Descent 3 coming in to 98. It came out in 99. And yeah, that's the ship within the universe. And I can even tell you a bit more about it. Outrage Entertainment was originally Parallax Entertainment, which made the first two of these, and Outrage merged with a company called with another company who now makes Saints Row. Yes, it seems very familiar when you flew Starship down that Coke can that DLC, and yeah, those names were not very well not used at all. I mean, heck, the double surround features don't work on modern computers today. So I'm going to cover some technical things about this. I'm going to let you know into secret. First of all, since was this written in 2001, 2002, this was well before the Comic Sans really got the bad news, the bad things about Comic Sans really stuck where it was up. It was relatively new font at the time. Like, that's why I'm covering it here. Another thing is, I did not know about CSS at this time. Every single thing was effectively manually. Every single heading was manually formatted to that. So, important people, which was a section which I got rid of. I got rid of, which is why for this, particularly because this one wouldn't have liked it. Yeah, so basically headings, each heading basically here would be manually set to a particular font size. What's okay at this time, it would have been a nightmare, and was a nightmare for me to later convert it up to a proper file later. And this was the latest iteration of this file is what you can buy on Amazon, Smashwords, and whatever store you can find 2001 A Big Nutter Oddity on. But like I said, I've got one final thing. This is the oldest thing I've got of this. This is the oldest copy that I can date. I've got a slightly later version of this from 2005 in digital format. So let's take a look. As you see, this is the actual. This is my website. This is what it looks like as the day I record this, and this is the book website, book page of 2000 Big Nutter Oddity. But yeah, this is what you come to expect on here. So there was, I said, a website, the Big Nutter projects. I said projects. Yes, this project's been important. Now, this was released in 2005, and I've decided to. This was me playing around with some software. I believe and whatever random font I can find of at the time. Well, people will say that's the Halo font. It probably is, because it was just before Halo. It was round after Halo, because Halo was 2 years before that. So, welcome. This is the actual website. This is actually zoomed in way more than normally would be. So, this is pure because this was built for 2005 internet. I was aiming for basically still aiming for standard definition. Many laptops and quite a lot of computers still were showing it that resolution. I don't think I could get. I think the newest. My computer at the time probably wouldn't been able to do 1080p or even 1440p, which you can see here at the moment. Yeah, I'm currently upscaling this a bit as well. So, this is basically the first 2 bits are original. This is Big Nutter Alpha is what you see here is basically the backup of my website mid development. This button doesn't work, and various other stuff does, but everything. And basically, the Big Nutter Soul Survivor 5, the Alpha 8 Live. Yes. It basically. And basically, I had Big Nutter. And see, the previous page I had was Big Nutter. That was it. It's Big Nutter Alpha. I changed everything to Alpha. There is actually a Beta and Gamma. Well, actually, Gamma UV has come under a different name. But yes, this is the actual thing. So I basically, it was 2005. So I had a plans for Big Nutter 8 Alpha 8 Live. Now I actually did do it, and it's actually a story on its own. But sadly, it's not something I can really. I'll figure doing on my own. And as I said, this is a work in progress thing. I had typos in here. Yes, and I said many of the links and pages are gone. I never actually did Manifest Live, so it didn't actually do anything. Beta Story 1, and it's actually offline. Beta 1 it's basically been whatever. I know what Beta 1 was at the time, and I've actually got that too far into it, so it's never lived. Gamma on itself. Ooh. That is a story you will find out more about later, but that's not for this video. So, this is the actual website in code form, and this is because I rewrote everything from pure text. I mean, that's this page here, but I basically took everything, rewrote it, took everything out of the original files and just put in basically I basically pulled out a lot of the font reliability, which was something which I got mentioned. Something was relying on a lot at the time, and the reason why these images look a bit weird is because I was using GIF. As I said, this wasn't too much different from the original 2002 version. As you can see here, this is a proofread version, and I should probably send this out to people. And again, this is pretty much the and this is pretty much a more or less a code cleaned up version of the actual thing of the 2002 version. There was a logo, as you can see the logo here. 8 Live. Okay. Here's a quick question. Have you ever tried doing running a website without having a PC? This is my first time doing basically about an event, as I was at the event, because basically this is, believe it or not, I basically had a second-hand PC. Basically, I was trying to do the whole thing on a producing budget, and this before your cell phone could connect to the internet. But have you ever tried making updating a website without actually having before a smartphone? That is actually one of the few things. So this was never actually. Well, this was released, and there was actually pages of this put out, but the actual website area where it was posted never ever got backed up on, so I have no actual recovery data for this. And yes, this image up here was purely edited myself, and I did it. But all this was done in 2005. I can tell you that for nothing. And before anyone asks, yes, there is actually this hosted by somebody, but the website's for sale, and I can't, and that's the reason why I lost it. So, I'd recommend staying with me and with my currently I've spent. So, you might chat later. See you guys next time, and see you